So, my dad remarried when I was a teenager. My stepmother has always felt the need to negatively compare me to her daughters. They are 2 and 4 years older than me, and to just criticize me in general. I'm kind of resentful of my dad for never standing up for me and telling her to not treat me the way she does. He sometimes even made me apologize to her for answering back when she rips into me. As a consequence of living with them, I had really low self-esteem for a long time. I've managed to build it back up after leaving home and also through my current boyfriend, who really helped me with my confidence. Now for the issue at hand. Last week I went to my cousin's wedding. My dad and his family were present too. I was with my boyfriend, and since we were all there, I introduced him to them. Now, my boyfriend is a really good-looking guy, to the point I used to be kind of insecure about our relationship and question why he was with me at all. So, during the course of the evening, my stepmother asked my boyfriend, in public at the wedding reception, why he was with a neurotic, boring girl like me, when he could do better. Then, she proceeded to tell me that it's stupid of me to move in with him, cause when, and she said when, he finds someone better, he'll leave me and I'll be homeless. My dad didn't tell her anything, but looked a bit embarrassed. I was devastated by what she said, but didn't want to let on, so kind of jokingly told her to maybe stop drinking and behave herself. My boyfriend was extremely angry with her. I think he wanted to have a go at her, but I made him leave with me. My boyfriend asked me to consider cutting them off completely out of my life. Part of me is totally on board with this idea, cause there's nothing good for me in that relationship. But there's also a part of me that still wants my dad to love me and stand up for me. Is this too dramatic of a reaction for this incident? Am I too sensitive because of the past? You should have a conversation with your dad and explain how horrible she makes you feel, and let him know if he wants to have a relationship with you in the future, he should not allow his wife to speak to you like that. I'd also tell him that you won't speak to either of them until she offers a sincere apology. Your stepmother is a massive B, and it's sad that your father does not stand up for you. You certainly don't need to proactively reach out to them or put yourself in the same room with them. Being Facebook friends would suffice with notifications off. Your father didn't stand up for you within the past 8 to 10 years. What makes you think he'll stand up for you in the future? I mean, if he didn't stand up for you after that a-hole trying to sabotage your relationship in the middle of a ducking wedding, I don't think he ever will. Update. Dad called me. He said sorry for the way she behaved, but also said, you know how she is. She doesn't know what to say and when. So I asked him whether he agreed with her and just thinks she shouldn't have said it. He said that's not what he was saying. I told him I was really tired of being treated this way by both of them, and that I definitely don't want to see her again. At least for a long while. He said I should remember that she looked after me for a long time and that I should not forget that. I was too despondent to point out that she wasn't exactly a great parent to me, and that her being there actually made my teenage years way more difficult and miserable. I just told him that I really don't want to get into it. When he told me he loved me, I just said, I don't think so, and hung up. I honestly feel so empty and sad. But this has really made me realize that cutting them off may be the best option. I'm not even sure what to make of what my dad said, but it hurt. Backstory. Me, 24, and my husband, 32, met on that big company meeting of my father's. He is the CEO and brought me with him. For a long time, I had a crush on my husband, and at that night, he talked to me. I was 19 at that moment and really shy. But he was so charming. He was one of the sweetest guys I've ever met. Fast forward this night, we came together and got married. I was so in love, and when we talked about starting a family, we want many children. I was an only child, but my future children should have siblings to play with. My husband never really had a family. I don't know much about his past, but his parents left him and his sisters behind. So his sister had to care for him, because he was a baby at this time. They were poor. At some point, his sister was a lady of the night to get enough money to raise him. They don't talk to each other anymore. The fact that my husband had grown up in poverty is for my father a thorn in his side. My husband now makes enough money so that I can be a stay-at-home mom. He never liked my husband. They never really talk at family meetings. My father would have never allowed me to marry him. But my husband was so charming to my other family members that my father hadn't had a chance to say no. Soon after we got married, I was pregnant with our first child. My cousins made fun out of me because I was so young, 20. But I didn't care. I love my husband and our future child. My husband really wants a boy and made a religion out of it. I don't understand it, but I wanted a boy too, because of him. 9 months later, we got a sweet baby girl. He wasn't happy, but still loved her with his whole heart. I spent a lot of time with my baby and our housekeeper. My husband worked a lot. He wants to become the manager of his location. Thankfully, he doesn't work at the same location like my father, so I'm often alone. But when he's here, he is so romantic the whole time. We have dinner together as soon as the baby was sleeping. After those rituals, we often had and I was pregnant again. We had a second girl. He wasn't happy, but swallowed his pride. Soon after that, I gave birth to another girl. This time it was different. He was angry and shouted at me and our newborn. I am so sad that I can't give him what he wants. Our life is as normal as before, but with 3 beautiful girls. It's really exhausting, but our housekeeper helps a lot with the kids. And I love being a mom. The problem is, I'm pregnant with our 4th child. We don't know the gender yet. Don't get me wrong, I really want more children. I can imagine to have 6, and we have enough money and space in our home. But I'm afraid of my husband's reaction if it will be a girl again. What if I only will give birth to girls? I'm only 24 and will have 4 kids in some month. I don't know if I want a life where my husband hates me because of giving more girls to him. I don't want to disappoint him, but I had the feeling that it will be a girl again. Relatives don't help because they are in similar relationships. The difference is that they all have boys. Is there a method to get boys? What should I do next? Tell him it's actually his fault he's only having girls. Men have X, female, and Y, male chromosome. Women have 2 of X chromosomes. So if one of his X chromosomes is in the sperm that fertilizes your egg, then he has made a girl. If his Y chromosome is in the sperm that fertilizes your egg, then you'll have a boy. So he's being ignorant as well as an idiot. OP. There are so many scary red flags in this post about this man. Him being close to 30 and you being a teenager when you met. Him marrying you in months and already having you pregnant less than a year later is wild. You didn't have a chance to grow up into an adult without him. I assume, perhaps incorrectly and only based on your writing style and language, that you might be from a different culture where your opinion is irrelevant. But from Western eyes, you haven't had a chance to be a grown woman and build strength to stand up for yourself and learn what you deserve and what no woman deserves. That is likely why your dad is so upset, because he can see you are at risk with the dude who does all this the way he did it all. Him being okay with baby 1 despite disappointment is not actually okay. That is ducked up. He has no right to grump at his child and expect praise for not rejecting her. This man has impregnated you every year since you were a teen on his mission to get a boy. And now he has exploded in anger at you and your baby girls when his sperm carries the ducking Y chromosomes, hasn't produced one. OP, he doesn't sound like a good person or a safe person. He definitely isn't a good husband or a good father. Don't have 6 kids with this man. It will tie you even more to him. Call your dad if you still feel able and feel your dad really loves you and cares for you. I, 19 female, love my nephew Cam, 5, with all of my heart, and he's always been my little buddy. However, I can no longer tolerate this. Ever since he was born while I was in high school, I've always been expected to drop everything and take care of him. My sister, 29 female, eventually became a single mom and they moved in with us when he was still a newborn. My sister was the center of attention to begin with since we were young because she was a struggling addict throughout her teens and into adulthood. Despite having my own mental health problems, they just didn't compare to her, and I was forgotten about. Then she became pregnant with her first baby, Cam. Obviously, I had no problem with babysitting, but after a while, it started getting harder. I was staying up late on school nights and putting off homework to sit with Cam because my sister would decide to go out in the middle of the night and not tell anyone. I didn't get to go out with friends or do teenage stuff because I needed to babysit. When I got pushed around in school and came home in tears, I didn't get comforted or even asked what happened because I had to toughen up and help out with Cam. When my school situation got so bad, from being picked on and missing work, that I dropped out, I spent every day babysitting for about 3 months until I could find a GED program. Everything has always been about Cam. When people invited me out, I couldn't go because I had to watch Cam. When I wanted to go to community college, I could only do so if my schedule didn't conflict with babysitting Cam. When I was AR'd in my bedroom by a family friend on my 18th birthday, I couldn't report it or tell anyone because what if social services take Cam away? When I graduated my GED program and community college, where I ran 3 clubs and was the first person to finish their honors program, half of my family didn't bother coming because Cam wouldn't be able to sit through it. Everything has been about him. Cam is now 5 years old, and to say he is absolutely out of control is to say the least. He will scream like an animal, throw himself at walls, hit himself and others, yell at me and tell me to shut up, and other awful things when I don't give him what he wants. He 100% does not listen to anyone or anything because everyone else here spoils him rotten. It's gross. He even takes random objects and pretends they're knives to stab me with. He actually says, "This is a knife, Aunt C. I'm going to use it." At 5 years old. No one sees an issue with this but me. When I tell my mother or my sister, they tell me that I'm a monster and heartless for not babying him. My mother will even go so far as to say I'm just bitter and jealous of Cam because I'm a mentally ill piece of crap with no job or license. I had some kind of seizure the day of my driving test, and now I'm put on hold from being allowed to legally drive until they know why. And my sister? She never had a real job since he was born. She just relies on boyfriends to get her by when she wasn't in rehab or jail. She just gave birth to my niece, and they live with her fiancé an hour away. But guess what? Cam still lives here, and my sister has no issue being with this new baby all day. I'm currently with Cam as I type this, and I'm almost in tears because it's so overwhelming. This happens on a regular basis, but whenever I call my mom or sister asking for a break, I'm either ignored or somehow punished. I can't keep doing this. I just got into my top university, 2 hours away, and I'm living on campus. I don't plan on coming back. I've told my mother and sister as of yesterday that I flat out refuse to watch him as of this point, and they just acted like I was PMSing or something. They don't know how serious I am. Just to be clear, I do not blame or resent my Cam one bit. I love him with all my heart, but I can't keep handling this. I need to grow and learn to be my own person, not my sister's stand-in mother. He did nothing. My family failed him. I try not to be too hard on my sister because she didn't choose to be an addict for all those years, but I never chose to raise her son either. Edit. I should mention that the reason Cam still lives here is because 2 years ago, my parents took full custody of him because of my sister's actions. She can still watch him and be alone with him, however. Your family is ruining Cam's life by spoiling him like that. But you need to save yourself. You owe it to yourself to live your own life. Your relatives' failures are their own and not your responsibility. If you don't look out for yourself, no one will. Don't tell them you won't babysit. Focus on moving out and staying away, and then just refuse to babysit. Cam is not your responsibility, period. I'm getting married in June. Everyone has saved the date since October. In December, my sister-in-law, my brother's fiancé, found out that her best friend, cousin, is getting married on the same day that I do. Since then, she's been in a dilemma on which wedding she'll attend, or whether she'll make both work somehow. I've told my brother that I'll be hurt if they choose to attend the best friend's wedding, since my wedding was announced first. And I'm immediate family after all, right now even to her. Her best friend is also her cousin, so she's family too, but sister-in-laws, in my opinion, are more immediate than cousins. So the RSVPs were given out, and while my brother RSVP'd yes, my sister-in-law's was no. I called my brother to ask for an explanation, and he said he'll attend my wedding, as I'm his sister, but his fiancée has the right to attend her cousin's best friend's wedding. This rubbed me the wrong way, because it seems like her priorities are not straight, and she doesn't realize the significance of immediate family and in-laws versus cousins, best friends. I told my brother I'll call her to express my disappointment, but he said I should not get involved and that I can't force her to attend my wedding. That I'm allowed to feel sad, but not to be mad or else I'm unreasonable and self-centered. You don't get to decide other people's priorities. In fact, this entitlement post is likely why you're not her priority. No offense, but her cousin best friend's wedding trumps yours every day of the week. Just because she's marrying into your family one day doesn't mean she needs to abandon hers. Yes, the a-hole, for being entitled and not recognizing that your sister-in-law has more immediate family than you. You can't play the family card on this issue, because for her, she is already prioritizing family. You have to suck it up and register at least some gratitude for your sister-in-law even considering your wedding, or trying to make it work. I am sure she will be thinking of you and wishing you well. So have a lovely day and just enjoy it, come what may. Don't stress.